Hey, good morning, everyone. It is currently November 11th, right? It's Remembrance Day, Veterans Day, call it what you will. It's a general holiday, right? It's a holiday here in Canada and in the US. And with that, right, the bond market and the banks are closed. So the bond market is a massive market that will pull some volume out of even equities in general. So, like this morning, it's not like we have an outstanding amount of volume on the overnight session. So I think that generally the markets are going to be a little slower here going forward. And then we're going to start seeing movement into Tuesday and into the rest of the week when we have more inflation data that's coming out with CPI, PPI. We have Jerome Powell speaking later on in the week. But to start the week here, one of the main topics of conversation is going to be Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin making new, fresh all-time highs, breaking that $80,000 level for that first time ever here. So Bitcoin in itself is up 86% year to date, topping the S&P's 26% of returns. And it seems like what is going on with the crypto space, right? The next bull run, everyone's super excited about it. Everyone's talking about what happened in the last bull run, all this stuff. So first and foremost, right, we topped over the $80,000 level on the weekend, becoming one of the most prominent quote unquote Trump trades in the aftermath of the 2024 election. And back on the campaign trail now, President elect Donald Trump jumped on the crypto bandwagon with promises to create a Bitcoin strategic reserve, fight the CBDCs, and defend the right to self custody. However, the biggest catalyst seems to be his commitment to favorable regulatory environment and vowing to eliminate unclear or tough laws that stifle the sector. So plans are underway to appoint a presidential advisory council to let the crypto industry thrive. And while there might be some legal tussling, SEC Chairman Gary Gensler may soon find himself out of the position along with the Senate Banking Committee. So Trump's sweep in the seven battleground states and in the coming red wave that's set to descend on Capitol Hill will mean that plans can be carried out, with many pro crypto lawmakers soon to be found in the halls of Congress. So the bullish sentiment has even propelled altcoins like Cardano, Solana, and as well as many meme coins like Doge and Shiba Inu in the broad boost on the entire crypto sector. So it'll all translate into better policy certainty, especially for tier one banks, which will be more inclined to integrate crypto services and platforms into their businesses. That should also help more institutional investors come aboard, which can push prices even further via direct buying and a broader range of crypto ETFs. Remember, volatility is always going to be present in the crypto sphere, but history has shown that the need for diamond hands, quote unquote, will really win in this asset class. So realistically, crypto, remember last time in like a bull run we had people buying NFTs that were like, I don't even know, a monkey or a pebble for like $3 million. I feel like we can call tops when that happens. So Trump wasn't always this friendly towards Bitcoin and crypto, and was very far from being an advocate. During his term in office, he said that crypto, excuse me, wow, he said crypto value was based on thin air, while connecting the digital assets to crime-riddled scams and threats to the U.S. dollar. Fast forward to this current campaign cycle, and Trump was able to distinguish himself from the anti-crypto crusade on the other side at the Bitcoin 2024 conference in July. He laid out a plan to ensure that the United States will be a crypto capital of the planet and Bitcoin superpower of the world. So this is the flip that he took, right? And with that, you can see that Bitcoin is on the rise. You have individual stock names like MSTR, right? MicroStrategies, which hold the biggest holder of Bitcoin, and you can see it's been rallying super aggressively with Bitcoin, gapping up to 300, and it seems like this isn't really over. Mara, the second biggest holder of Bitcoin here, and been mining a lot, been buying the dip in massive quantities when Bitcoin was trading at 60,000, unfortunately isn't rising as clearly as MSTR, right? It's still not at all-time highs, which is a bit surprising, so clearly there's something amidst there. But the crypto space is continuing to flourish here. Not all Crypto assets are at all-time highs, but Bitcoin leading the charge here, making a lot of hodlers and diamond hands traders very, very happy with what's going on. So there's no real events that are scheduled in terms of market news on the economic calendar from what I see today. We have the futures market is up a little touch here on the overnight session after Sunday's reopen. The futures market on equities is still trading today, right? The volume's not very high. 120,000 contracts currently traded on the S&P 500, but the S&P 500 and the excuse me, sorry for that. And the Nasdaq and the S&P 500 both made all-time highs on the Sunday session as this rally continues. Now, I'm not one of those blind, like I've said this a lot, I'm not blind bullying everything, just rally, rally, rally. But right now, until the key support structures do break, I think that these buyers are still in control of what's going on. So with the S&P above 6,010, 6,005, I think that upside continues. There was a massive, massive buyer onto Friday's closing session at 21,260 on the Nasdaq, and we're holding above that. That's the first area for the buy side to sustain. And right now, right, I don't necessarily see that on this low volume day we have this massive, massive downturn, right? Things can obviously change, but I'm not necessarily going to be super bearish on Nasdaq until we break 21,260 or the S&P under that 30-ish area, 60, 30-ish area. Sorry about that. Getting my numbers a little confused this morning. So that's how I'm going to proceed on this slower day. Probably not going to be trading too much on today's session. Mainly just wanting to see if there's maybe one trade possibility throughout the day, and then we can call it on this slow day and keep our capital fresh for what's to come for the remainder of the week. So, shorter update. If you're not trading, that makes sense. Hope you all have a fantastic day, little holiday season, and we'll be back at it tomorrow in full flight.